Hi everyone, David here. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for coming back for another video. Welcome if it's your first one. Thanks for joining us. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. This is my last day of my New Year vacation, so feeling a little bit, I don't know, some kind of way. And thank you for your nice comments last week after my little crash out, talking about the future of the channel. Yeah, well, for now I'm still going. I've still got some stuff from last year that I haven't uploaded yet, so I'm going to do some of that today. I don't think there's really much left in the archives. Got to actually get out of the house and do something new. But today I'm talking about firstly some temples, but also one of the most beautiful views of Japan. That's official as well, because there is a special list. It's the 3 great views of Japan. There's the one in Hiroshima. This is Itsukushima Shrine, which has the Torii Gate out in the sea. There's also Matsushima, which is in Miyagi in Tohoku area. And today's one, which I'm going to, which is Amanohashidate, which is the north part of Kyoto. We think of Kyoto as the city, but actually it's quite a large prefecture, and it stretches all the way up to the northern coast on the Japan Sea. And finally I went up there. I was gone there on stamp collecting business. As you might know already, I've been doing the Goshuincho 33 temples, Saigoku 30 sho, kind of a trip around various temples in Kansai area. And 2 of them are on the north coast, so I thought I'd try and do them in one go. And I thought I'd pick off one of the ones in Hyogo on the way, because it's vaguely made sense, like route-wise. So that's what you're going to see today, 3 temples. In Hyogo there's Banshu Kiyomizu-dera, not to be confused with the one in Kyoto, actual Kiyomizu-dera. And then in Amanohashidate, I'll show you all of that. And also Nariai-ji temple, which is up there. And finally Matsunoodera, which is a little bit further along the coast. And then I came back, so there we go. I don't know if you're interested in these temples, but I have actually finished the 33 temple pilgrimage now. Not with these 3, but with some other ones later. So I might do one little wrap-up video of that, and probably a video that talks about the whole pilgrimage as a whole, because I've been to all of them now. So yeah, there we go. I'm just going to get straight to business. So thank you for watching. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. Please leave a comment. I always appreciate that. And also share this channel to anyone who's interested in some slightly unusual places to visit in Japan, aside from the usual big cities. So I'm going to head over and narrate my way through, so see you on the other side. Okay, here we are getting off the train at Aino Station in Hyogo Prefecture. Autumn was falling, beautiful leaves there, and we're waiting for a bus here that will take me to our temple. Nice view from the bus as well. We're in the middle of the mountains, so that's really nice in Hyogo. And here we are at Banshu Kiyomizu-dera, one of the 33 Kannon shrines. As you can see, autumn leaves were lovely. A little bit of a walk, not too bad, it's just a few steps. And finally we made it there. I didn't actually take any footage of the shrine, so here's some still photos of it. A little bit of a miss for me. But yeah, very beautiful, nice time to visit as well. It's quite crowded as well, I was surprised. Nice pond outside it as well, with some koi in there, I think. And you can also follow the stairs up all the way, and you can see another building. This is the one of the inner shrines, Honden I think it's called. So you can just kind of wander around, enjoy the autumn colours. There was even a few cherry blossoms blooming, which is a little bit strange, and some mysterious shrines here and there. But that was it, so back to Aino Station. This is what our local station looks like, really. There's not really a lot of staff, mostly self-service machines. This is kind of a mid-sized one, and a few pamphlets and things to keep you busy. But there we go, I was on my way north towards Fukuchiyama now, so waiting for my train. And yeah, beautiful view from the train as well, on the way to Fukuchiyama, going alongside the river. And I made it finally, which was where I was going to be staying for the night. This is quite a large kind of hub station in the kind of northern part of Kyoto Prefecture, but historical as well. You can see that model of an original train. I was going to have a little walk to the castle here, Kyoto by the sea. We're not anywhere actually near the sea, as you can see from this view, but there is a nice ornamental bridge near the castle, and here's the castle itself. Not an original, but still very beautiful nonetheless. And for a small fee you can go inside and enjoy the museum. So lots of old documents and illustrations, and a model of the castle, of course. Do like a model. Apparently there was a shogi match was held here with some famous people. And as you can see, yeah, no sea to be seen. We're right in the middle of the mountains here. And a few nice, interesting models. That's kind of recycled stuff, I think. And you can see some of the historical costumes of the past and how life would have looked like in the palace. And a nice view from the top as well. You can have a look around, a panoramic view. Lovely day for it as well. And yeah, that was it really. Not a huge amount inside, but worth a visit if you're in the area. A little window to the outside there. And a little shachihoko, so kind of legendary dolphin thing. I was kind of surprised that the brickwork was a little bit hodgepodge. Looks like they just grabbed any bricks they could. There is a museum down here as well next to that ornamental bridge, so I didn't have enough time for that one sadly. But here's my hotel, fairly reasonable but miles away from the station sadly. Nice double bed though, and big workspace if you're going to do a bit of catching up with the correspondence. View was, yeah, not bad. And a fairly standard business hotel toilet. I didn't actually have to see myself on the toilet this time, which is a nice plus, you usually do. Very misty morning, this is day 2, looking like Silent Hill. I managed to make it quite early back to the station, and I was taking a train towards Amanohashidate. Now this is a one-man train, so there's no, well, there's only one person operating it, and you have to get off, it's a bit like a bus really, I suppose. I mean, you managed to beat that out of the train. Looking quite misty still, very mysterious and atmospheric, but we finally got through the mountains and it was looking a bit sunnier and more pleasing. And I had to change trains once to get this other train to Amanohashidate. I think this is the Kyoto Tango line still. And made it to Amanohashidate station. Again, Kyoto by the sea. Yeah, I definitely believe this one this time, because we are next to the sea. There's a nice bay here, and this is the main view. We're starting at the bottom here, but we are going to cross over to the north side. This is the sandy isthmus. It's quite quiet as well. The tour groups hadn't arrived yet, and the main trains from the big cities hadn't got there yet. So I managed to get here just as the Viewland was opening, and you get this kind of chairlift thing. There we go. Watch your feet though, because apparently they can drag you under. And a little chairlift up to the top where you can finally see the beautiful view of Amanohashidate, one of the Nihon Sankei, as you can see on that sign, one of the 3 most beautiful views of Japan. And there it is. This is the unique looking sandbar across the bay. Still plenty of people here, wanting to get there early. Little Ferris wheel up there too, some little amusements. Otherwise you can just enjoy the view of the bay and the isthmus up ahead. Apparently you should look underneath your legs at it, so it looks like a dragon apparently. I didn't really understand that myself. Not much else to see there, so I got the chairlift back down again because I had an appointment on the other side. So there we go, and welcome to Amanohashidate, one of the beautiful views. And I'll show you this bridge again in a moment. It's got something interesting about it. But I was heading towards the marina to catch a ferry to the other side. And they are selling some snacks for the birds. They are bird safe, don't worry, only 100 yen. You can eat them yourself. And notice the bridge here is actually turning around. Its pivots in the middle and lets the other boats through. So it's not totally connected to land. That's kind of a unique bridge. Never seen one like that before. So here we are on the Kamome ferry. Kamome means seagull, and you'll find out why. Because people are feeding the seagulls and there's swarms of them. They'll take the stuff right out of your hands. But don't be too calm about it. There are some black kites there as well, which will snatch everything out of your hands. Don't be too complacent. I made it to the other side, the ferry terminal. So kind of cute, it looks fairly done up as well. I feel like they've restored it recently. There's a shrine on this side, which I did have a bit of a wander around, but I wanted to get the other chairlift on the other side to go up to the top of the other side of the hill. Ooh, it's having a nice stretch there. Just take it easy. There's also, if you don't want to do this chairlift thing, there is a cable car or ropeway thing that runs alongside it. Then, as I got to the top, I got the bus and made it all the way to Nariai-ji, which is only a 10-minute bus drive. It's a fairly quick shuttle. And the autumn leaves were really beautiful here. Some fairly punishing steps to get up to the top, but I made it. So this is Nariai-ji over there. Another one of my 33 temples. The very beautiful Japanese woodwork goes into these temples. Not using nails, just kind of slot in and lock together. So yeah, very nice temple inside. We can't film inside, sadly. Or maybe we could have actually. I've realised fairly recently that temples seem to be a bit more lenient about letting you film. I had a bit of time before the bus, so I enjoyed the autumn leaves again. Random little acorns plopping into the pond near me as well. Beautiful coverage. And there's a 5-story pagoda, which I can't say no to. I love those things. Couldn't really take a very nice picture without that flagpole in the way, sadly. But there we go. Lovely vermilion coloured 5-story pagoda. I love it. Meanwhile, back at the top of the cable car, we can see the reverse view of Amanohashidate. Weirdly, it looks very straight, considering the kind of curvy view from the other side. But there we go. They've even got a little mascot down here. Watch out for the stairs. He made it, don't worry. And a restaurant up here too, which was a little bit too expensive for me, but has a nice view. And a little viewpoint there as well. You can get your picture taken and look on the little glass platform if you don't get vertigo. And finally, back down on the chairlift to the bottom. And you can check out the ropeway as well. But I took the chairlift. I like those. Bit of excitement, and you can see the view very nicely too. And there we go, back at the cable car station, and I was starving, but I was going to take a look at some of the souvenirs. I wasn't really in the mood for shopping. I was a bit sunburnt and tired and hungry, so there we go, some souvenirs all around to buy. The north coast of Japan often has seafood like crab. It's very popular in the winter. Some crab flavoured snacks. I decided to go to this lovely restaurant and order some tendon. I've been craving some tempura recently, but there we go. Got a nice apple juice too. Yeah, delicious. So here's my ride. I'm getting back on the camel mare to the other side. This time I decided to stay below deck, just on the outside. Didn't want to get pecked by seagulls. But a nice view of the marina as we come into port. Elsewhere in Amanohashidate there is a temple here that you can just have a walk around. It's not a huge one, but nice for the tourists. It's kind of crowded actually. There are a lot of coach parks around here, so all the tourists were congregating. Some koi carp and a slightly smaller pagoda. Still beautiful nonetheless. So there we go. I decided to actually explore the sandbar itself now. So going over one of the bridges towards the sandbar. And there's some very tall pine trees here, which means that this is a fairly safe area. It doesn't get flooded. You can see the quite calm water, very blue, and a beautiful big beach, which gets popular in the summer. I think I've finally found the worst mascot ever. Very cumbersome Amanohashidate mascot. But it's time to catch the train again, the Kyoto Tango train off to Maizuru. A nice view of some quite open river mouths. And if you turn around, you can actually see the track and very interesting little bridge here. I'm sure that's very famous, very historic. I have no idea. But I made it to Nishi Maizuru, which was closer to where my hotel was. It doesn't look like there's a lot of action in some of the sides of it. And weirdly, there's a cooler box for old used tempura oil, which you can dispose of. My hotel's quite nice though, a nice lobby with a beautiful lucky god in the middle of it. Let's take a look in the room though. A little bit smaller than the other one. The bed looks a bit lumpy, but I think it was quite nice. Big TV as usual. They're fairly standard, to be honest. And yeah, I think this was quite nice. And let's check out the view. That's pretty good, actually. Got a view of the landscape at least, which is more than I normally get. You've got the super toilet, as always, and this beautiful shower curtain. This is the first time I've ever seen of one that wasn't white. That's pretty fantastic. Okay, so there we go. That's the hotel, and I was making my way to Maizuru station to catch a train to Matsuno-dera, which is my final temple stop. So here's my ride. This is a JR1 now. And a little elevated train track, so you can see over the town. Not a lot going on here either, for a pretty empty train platform. Only one track as well. There's not going to be another train for another 4 hours, so I've got plenty of time to get to Matsuno-dera. 2 kilometer walk. It's not going to be as flat as this though, I'll tell you that for nothing. Finally turning off the main road towards Matsuno-dera, and it starts to get very steep. But eventually, after about an hour, I made it to the bottom of another set of stairs, but that was nothing compared to the hill, so there we go, that's the entrance to the temple. Unfortunately, Matsuno-dera is under reconstruction at the moment, so there's a huge tarpaulin over it. Apparently it's going to be reopening in 2027, but you can see some of the renovation information there. That's what it looks like normally. There are some other buildings to check out though. You can go and pay your respects in some of the other temples. There's a very old tree there. I don't know the backstory, but it looks significant. And a nice view that I can't really see because of the contrast, but lovely view from the outside. And that's the building where you can get your temple stamp, but they have a nice little water garden here as well. So a nice little place to potter around. And on the way back down, again some nice views of the landscape around the mountains, and some beautiful tree-lined walks. And I still had an hour to kill at Matsuno-dera station, so inside looks a bit like an old schoolroom, but this is a very old traditional building. There are little stink bugs in there as well, which I was trying to chase out. There is a shop and a cafe apparently, but not open on Mondays, so I wasn't in luck. Absolutely starving, but yeah, 4 hours after arrival, the next train arrived, and that took me to Higashi Maizuru this time, where I had a bit of sightseeing to do before I caught my bus back. So Higashi Maizuru is home to a military base for the Marine Self-Defense Force, so they've got quite a wide port here. No military boats yet, but walking along a bit we get to see the exciting World Brick Museum. And a little bit of a port. I was a bit disappointed I couldn't see any more ships close up, but you'll see some of those a bit later. So let's take a look inside the Brick Museum. I think it's only about 400 yen to get in, but you get to see bricks from all over the world and how they make bricks, including this little kiln, which I thought was just a segment. Looked like it was actually a whole thing, but very useful use of mirrors, which completely tricked me, made it look like a whole circuit. And so you can see these famous bricks from all over the world, if you're into that sort of thing. You can see ancient bricks, for example. I think where are these, from Egypt or somewhere. You can see British bricks as well from Portsmouth. And yeah, I recognise them immediately, of course. And some from Dover as well. These are Roman bricks from Dover. There's one from the old temple in Nara, which I went to last year. There's the red brick old city hall in Sapporo. There's Tokyo Station, very iconic red brick building. And of course back in Osaka we've got Nakanoshima's old city hall as well, very beautiful. And a model of this Maizuru's port, or dock, whatever it is. On the second floor, again more displays here. Got some historical bricks. We've got some from Auschwitz, the concentration camp. They've got some from Hiroshima, where the atomic bomb was dropped. They've got the Berlin Wall as well, so lots of historical bricks. Meanwhile, outdoors there is a red brick district, so you can see some old warehouses. Very beautifully kept and very nice and quiet this time on a very cold, windy Monday afternoon. So the buildings have been reclaimed. Some of them have got shops in, some of them have got little music venues, I think. There's a piano in there, I think. There's a gift shop as well. You can buy your Christmas goods and various souvenirs. I did buy some stuff from here actually, and some interesting crab mascot and some Marine Self-Defense Force goodies if you're into the military stuff. Another building had I think this is a Maizuru museum, which apparently had some anime characters. I don't know what anime was set there. That was a bust of a famous Olympian, I believe, a famous athlete who was from Maizuru, sadly killed quite young. Another bits and bobs through Maizuru's history, including this big battleship model. So definitely look at that if you're interested in the military history. And walking back to the bus station, I like these kind of old Shotengai, little shopping streets, looking a bit quiet on a Monday. But here's my ride back on the highway bus to Osaka. Just see my seat though. So you've got a little drink holder, there's a little charging port as well. Lots of leg room, lovely. And on the way back, we actually went past the Red Brick Museum and also all of these huge battleships, which I completely missed, sadly. But here they are. Finally managed to see some. So I'm going to hand over back to myself. Okay, welcome back. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. What did you think of the trip? Especially Amanohashidate, a very beautiful place. It definitely deserves a place in the three top sites of Japan. It takes a little while to get there though, especially if you're coming direct from Osaka. It takes about, I think, about 2.5 hours by bus, and it'll cost you about 4,000 yen. Or if you go by train, it'll cost you about 6,000 yen, I think, and it'll take you about the same time. You actually have to travel on the Kinosaki Limited Express, is that called the Konotori, and change at Fukuchiyama station, which is where my first hotel was. And then take the Kyoto Tango Railway up to Amanohashidate. That's not included in the JR pass, by the way. That's Kyoto Tango Railway is a different company, although it is included in some of the area passes, like the wide Kansai pass and the Hokuriku pass, I believe, and I think a couple more. So please check out the terms and conditions of your passes. Yeah, definitely well worth a visit. Excuse me. And so the temples I went to, Banshu Kiyomizu-dera, that was really interesting. Well, it wasn't that interesting, but it was easy to get to at least. That area seemed quite cool. The bus that took me from Aino station to the temple itself had a big museum on the way, I think a ceramics museum, which looks kind of worth a visit if you're just taking a day trip around there. So that was fairly easy to get to, not a lot to see around there. And the bus service is fairly irregular, so basically try and get on the bus and then get back on the next bus, and you won't be waiting there too long. There's some big coach tours as well. I think there's people doing the pilgrimage, same as me. So getting there to Fukuchiyama, from there to Fukuchiyama, that was fairly painless. It didn't take that long, and hotel was quite nice. Fukuchiyama was a nice city. I wasn't expecting a lot because people don't really talk about it, but there was a nice castle there. That was definitely worth a visit if you're in the area, because it was a nice museum inside and quite a nice view from the top as well. It was not such a nice view in the morning when the fog descended, but that's all. And on to Amanohashidate was I was happy I got there early, because last time I think I just got there on the limited express train around lunchtime, and it was super crowded and super hot as well because it was summer. But I managed to get there around 9 o'clock before everyone got there, and was one of the first people up on the cable car to the top. They've got a little amusement park, very small amusement park up there, basically like a Ferris wheel and a few odds and ends there. It's basically just a viewpoint, but it's a great view. I think this is called an isthmus, which is a name for I think a sandbar that connects two sides of land. So there's kind of a bay, and then the sandbar connects the two sides. So that was a beautiful view. You can spend a little while taking pictures of that. And then back down again, took the ferry. The ferry was a little bit scary because of the seagulls and well, not so much the seagulls, but the black kites, which are vicious, and they will take your food out of your hands. They'll snatch stuff off from you. They're pretty shameless. The seagulls aren't so bad. So just be careful. I was really worried about using my camera because it might look like food to a black kite. He might just snatch it. He's not going to eat it, but he's going to drop it in the sea, I think. So I didn't want that to happen. But yeah, another cable car on the other side, and then I got the bus to Nariai-ji, which is only about 10 minutes away by bus. That's fairly simple to get to. Nariai-ji temple was very nice. There's especially autumn leaves, very beautiful around there. Nice wide area to walk around, and the buses are relatively regular, so you could get back quite easily. Back at the visitor centre, the restaurants were a bit too expensive for me to enjoy, so I ended up going back down the cable car and ate down there, which was quite nice. Not a huge amount of choice of restaurants around there, but I think I chose quite a nice one. And then the ferry back. If you're scared of birds, don't worry, you can always take another boat. There's different companies that do it, but you can also just go on the lower deck and you don't have to worry about them at all, which is what I did. I didn't need that hassle. I was getting a bit sunburned as well. Amanohashidate town itself, it's kind of a touristy place really. There's not a huge amount to do apart from like tourist stuff. There's the temple I showed you. You can actually walk onto the sandbar itself, which was quite nice. You saw the beach I showed you. It's kind of fun, yeah, but it wasn't really beach weather in the middle of November, so a little bit. I think that was the last hot day of autumn. After that it was super freezing cold. But there we go. Then onwards to Matsuno-dera. Oh no, I went to Maizuru first to see my hotel. Yeah, nice hotel, lovely shower curtain. Again, not a great deal to do in Maizuru, even less than Fukuchiyama. So I just kind of had a bit of a wander around and got some dinner, and that was it. But Matsuno-dera was super remote. You saw that platform in the middle of nowhere. The trains only came every 4 hours. So I had to plan my trip out well. Luckily I had a lot of time to waste to get to Matsuno-dera. There's no bus as far as I could find. There are no taxi companies. The only choice apart from car is to walk, and that took me about an hour to get there. Quite uphill. I took a lot of breaks. I'm not a hiker really, but I made it. Unfortunately it was all covered over for the restoration. So I hope that's going to look nice. I hope I get to see that one day. But the lady in the stamp Goshuincho room was very nice, even if her dog was quite noisy. I couldn't understand what she was saying most of the time because the dog was barking. But it was nice. She gave me a coupon actually for the one of the other temples that I'm going to. Well, I've already been to, but I was yet to go to. Yeah, so nice temple. A little bit too remote for someone travelling on foot though. And then I think I spent about an hour there and an hour coming back, and then I still had an hour before the train. There were no restaurants nearby. Absolutely starving. I was eating like gummy sweets, yeah, that was a little bit sad, but it's okay. I did some Pokemon Go. I could kill the time. And then got the train back to Maizuru and visited the Brick Museum. Yeah, the Brick Museum doesn't sound like a particularly appealing concept, but it was kind of interesting for what it was. Quite cheap to get in. I think it was only about 400 yen. You can see bricks of the world, bricks of note, and then the red brick district as well. You often see these in international ports. Excuse me. Things like Yokohama, Hakodate, and maybe in Nagasaki too. I can't remember that though. They tend to have like European style brick warehouses there. So that's nice. Not really much to see inside because they were just like shops and a random museum. I think they do some kind of musical performances there too. I wish I'd seen the battleships a bit closer because this is Maizuru is a base for the Marine Self-Defense Force, but I couldn't. I didn't realise it was just around the corner, so I saw it on the bus, but that was all. But that was quite easy to get back to Osaka. It only took about 2 hours by the highway bus. That was very easy. A lot easier than taking the train, which is a quite roundabout route. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that trip with me. I'll just show you some of the stamps I got. So this is from Nariai-ji. This is the Goshuincho, which is Goshuin is the stamp, but Goshuincho is the book. So this is done by the priest who do it in lovely calligraphy. So it just says Nariai-ji just there. I've got one for Matsuno-dera as well. Try not to drop this, it's quite hard to pick up. This is the Matsuno-dera one. And you can see Matsuno-dera written on the side there. So these cost 500 yen each time you do them. Sorry, confused the camera. 500 yen for that, and if you're going to get it, you can't just get them to do it in a regular scrapbook. If you're collecting stamps or whatever, you can't do that. You can get it in a piece of paper though. You don't need to get a special book. So if you just ask for paper, kami-de, then you can get it. Kami-de just means on paper, so you can ask them that. Otherwise, this is my Goshuincho for the 33 temples pilgrimage, which I have finished now, but at that point I hadn't. So I've got some more temples to show you in the future, so I'll put them in one more video, I think, and then that'll be that. I might do a whole video of all 33 temples, just talk about them in a PowerPoint, just so it's anyone who's interested in trying it can find out. But okay, I'm chatting too much again as usual, so thank you for watching, and if you've got any questions about it, please let me know in the comments. But please like, subscribe, share this channel, that would help me a lot. It does help me a lot, please, I promise. And I'll see you in another video. Okay, so take care. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.